العلي العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله قاصم الجبارين، مغير الظالمين، مدرك الحاضرين. والصلاة والسلام وتحية الإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأطهرين، سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في الأرضين، روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. ورحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم وقتلتهم وغاصب حقوقهم ومنكري فضائلهم العليم. أما بعد, for the happiness of Hazrat Zahra Marzia, for the enlightenment of the birds of Yawm, for the birds of the Shuhada, Ulama and Siddiqeen, for the safety of the followers of Ahlul Bayt around the world, and for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam Aram al-Fida, please recite your loudest salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the one who is Rahman and the one who is Rahim, the one that has given us an opportunity to once again observe one of the greatest worships that He has given to mankind, the one of fasting. If only we knew, if only we understood.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
One of the greatest worships that He has given mankind, the single worship that He speaks about in the Holy Quran and refers to it, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. You have been prescribed fasting so that maybe you may gain some taqwa, some consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, an understanding, a fear of Him. And as Sayyid says in her khutbah fadakiyya, وَالصِّيَامٌ تَثْبِيتٍ لِلْإِخْلَاصِ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has attributed, has prescribed fasting to you as an increase in your sincerity, so that you may become sincere. Why is it that fasting is that action that brings about taqwa, consciousness of Allah? Why is it is that act that brings about that ikhlas, that sincerity? It's because it's one of those secret worships that no one knows that you're doing. It's one of those worships that if you don't go and complain about it, then no one knows that you are actually partaking in that particular worship. No one knows that you are hungry. No one knows that you are worshipping. When you pray salah, everyone can see you pray. When you do dhikr, everyone can see you do dhikr. But siyam is that thing that if you do not reveal it to anyone, then no one knows that you are actually doing it. And this month is that month where a person journeys towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Well, the journey already began in Rajab and Sha'ban. Shahr Ramadan was the time when we reaped the rewards of that journey. See, we start our spiritual ascension in Rajab to Sha'ban, and then until we reach Shahr Ramadan, which is the banquet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's when all that divine glory, all that divine reward is on offer. And it is at that time that I'm able to utilize that reward that is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I'm not able to utilize it or work on it or have it or implement it within my life unless I have worked on myself in Rajab and Sha'ban. Shahr Ramadan will not reap its rewards for me unless Rajab and Sha'ban was spent purifying my soul to be able to view the divine light, for allowing that nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to once again permeate my heart. In last night's lecture in Sabah, I said that there is this concept of sharh al-sadr, this concept of expansion of the chest, when Nabi Musa is asking, Rabbi shrah li sadri, and Allah is saying to the Holy Prophet, Alam nashrah laka sadrak, did we not expand your chest? Or then somewhere else in the Quran he's saying, and we expanded their chest for the sake of Islam, for the sake of submission. What is this sharh al-sadr? Because when an individual has sharh al-sadr, he is able to view, he is able to bear the divine bounties. Sharh al-sadr brings about an ability to bear divine revelation. Because the revelation that fell upon the Holy Prophet, that was revealed to him, it wasn't easy. The Holy Prophet would be constrained under the pressure. They say his face would go red. His eyes and everything would begin to clench, because the wahi was coming down upon him. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدقا. That had we revealed this Quran upon a mountain, you would have seen it crumble under the weight of it. And it was only the heart of the Prophet that could bear the revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The same way, there is something that descends in Laylatul Qadr that we prepare ourselves for. Our Imam embarks upon a 3-month spiritual program to be able to bear that amr that comes down on the night of Qadr. There is much that is available on the night of Qadr. We miss it because we're not ready to receive it. تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالرُّوحِ. The Ruh al-Qudus and the Malaika are descending upon the earth, but yet we don't experience it. I don't feel the Malaika. I don't feel the presence of Ruh al-Qudus because my heart has not been purified. My heart has not been ready to bear the divine secrets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sharh al-Sadr is that ability to be able to bear the divine secrets. It is that ability to be able to view the divine nur. The Urafah speak about viewing that nur, that light, that divine light that emanates. Sharh al-Sadr is the perfection of the faculties of a human being. Inshallah, from tomorrow we will begin the analysis of the du'as of Shahr Ramadan. We will touch upon du'a makarim al-akhlaq. We will try and touch upon du'a iftitah and du'a Abu Hamza Thumali in the 15 nights that we have with you. And there we speak in du'a makarim al-akhlaq of perfecting these morals, of perfecting our moral self. Sharh al-Sadr is a perfection of these faculties. The faculties of anger, of desire, of imagination, because these are the base desires that exist within a human being. And these desires are what allows an individual to ascend towards Allah if he controls them using the aql. Or then become like the animals when he doesn't use his aql. No, actually, even worse. بَلْ هُمْ أَزَلْ, the Quran says. They are worse than the animals. When the intellect is not used and we become purely emotionally driven, at that point, that is jahiliyyah. When our emotions overcome our intellect, that is when an individual becomes jahil. When there is the rule of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on one side, and I say, no, but it doesn't suit me. It doesn't feel right to me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, pray. I say, but I pray in the heart. See, this is an emotion, because that emotion, what part of it? It comes from that quwwat al-ghadabiyya, that power of anger, that desire, that desire to work, that desire to quwwat al-shahwiyya, that desire to develop, that desire to get close to Allah. When that quwwah is not governed by the aql, then a person says, they become lazy. They say, I can't really, do this. They become lazy. They say, they try and find excuses. The nafs is very deceptive in the way that it governs an individual. So they try and find excuses for not partaking in the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They say, no, I'm too tired, or maybe God didn't mean this in the Quran. And you see many women use this in regards to hijab. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Holy Quran says about the hijab. They say, no, it doesn't specifically say in the Quran that you should cover your hair. And they're right. But at the same time, they've revealed their absolute ignorance. Because with having no knowledge of, then this is it. When emotion overcomes the aql, then an individual doesn't go towards those that know, those that have ilm, rather they go towards themselves, their own base desires. I believe that this is that. They don't bother researching, looking deep into the Holy Quran, understanding what it is the Quran revealed, in what context it revealed. No, we become the Fir'aun of our time. Ana rabbukum al-a'la. I am your greater Lord, the greatest Lord. I know what's right for me. They say it doesn't say covering your hair in the Quran. And they're right. But they don't read the tafasir. They don't go into depth. They don't ask those that know, because we have become the hujjah of Allah upon ourselves. Why does it not say cover your hair in the Quran? Because the women of the time already covered their hair. They already covered their hair. But their hijab would go behind the ears to the back of their necks, leaving the neck and the chest exposed. Hence why the ayah of the Quran says, and tell them, O Prophet, to bring forth, the believing women, to bring forth their veils and to cover their necks and chests. But we become Allah, we become Fir'auns of our own time, because it doesn't make sense to me, or I don't think that I look particularly good, or I do not believe that my wife or my daughter looks particularly good, so I will make it haram for them. Though I have no authority, by the way. Even our parents have absolute authority. Wherever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about His obedience, He speaks about the obedience of the parents. The only place the parents do not have absolute rububiyyah over us, lordship over us, is in the matters of the deen. If our parents tell us not to pray, we can disobey. If they tell us not to wear hijab, we can disobey. If a husband tells a wife not to wear hijab, there is grounds, shari'i grounds for divorce. There is a hadith from 6th Imam in this regard. He doesn't let you fulfill your rights towards Allah. There is a grounds for divorce. We think that somehow that we came onto this earth and we were born into this society, that we are in some way better than the society that the Quran was revealed towards. Sometimes we do it out of fear. So, well, you know what, Trump's coming in, or Hillary, and you know, all of this stuff's happening. Better get rid of the beard and better get rid of the hijab. So all those wajibat, they go out the window. Why? Because we're afraid of mortal men. Not of the one that created them all. And so, we're unable to bear the divine right, those divine lights that are revealed in Laylatul Qadr. Because Laylatul Qadr is not just the night where I say, oh Allah, give me lots of money for the next year, oh Allah, help me. No, Laylatul Qadr is far more than that. It is beyond وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala places, He puts a rhetorical question, almost mocking man. وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ. What will you understand of the night of Qadr? You can't comprehend it. You can't comprehend it. It says, but knowing the arrogance of man, knowing how arrogant we are, no, I can do this, man is arrogant, I can understand this, I can do that. So it's okay. Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alf ash-shahr. You should know, it's enough for you to know that Laylatul Qadr is greater than 1,000 months. And so I was like, oh, wow, okay, that's a pretty big deal. So what I do on that night is equivalent to 1,000 months worth of worship. Yes. But Laylatul Qadr is far greater. Laylatul Qadr is far greater. It is at a totally different level. To be able to bear what is revealed in Laylatul Qadr, to be able to accept what is on offer in Laylatul Qadr, an individual must embark upon a spiritual program that starts from Rajab. The fasts of Rajab, the fasts of Sha'ban. And then, when he enters into Shahr Ramadan, he reaps the rewards of the purification of the heart. If I reach Shahr Ramadan and all it is that I've done, well, is just attend a jashan here and a jashan there. Because effectively, the month of Rajab for us is what? It is now become the month of the Ghullat, the month of the Ghadis. That in the UK, in our community, there are those that bring out drums and start dancing in the Husayniyas in the name of Imam Ali. They start doing something that they call Kalandari Damal, as if this is something that Imam Ali or the Urafa have spoken about. They do it in the Husayniyas. Rajab has not become that spiritual, it's not remained that spiritual month. It has become the month of the ghalis. You hear our qasidas, what is being recited. You hear how people are beginning to mix Amir al-Mu'mineen with Allah. As if Allah didn't know something that Amir al-Mu'mineen knew. Our qasidas, you listen to them, and it is like they have placed Amir al-Mu'mineen over Rasulullah. Why? Because of this lack of knowledge. We haven't understood Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rajab has become the month of the ghullat. Muharram has become the month of the liars. That every single lie that we can think of, we attribute it to Abi Abdullah and we say it took place in Karbala. But we never picked up a maqtal. What is this maqtal? See, the maqtal is the story of Karbala. There are 3 or 4 authentic maqatil written post Karbala. Read them. And all that we have heard our whole lives, at least in the Indo-Pak subcontinent, will be thrown out the window. And it requires its own ashra. The misconceptions of Karbala, the fabrications of Karbala. Because on the basis of poetic license, we attribute such lies to the A'imma. Lies that will break our fasts were we to recite those qasidas, those marthiyas, those nohas in the state of fasting. There is nothing else that I can say beyond that. There are some qasidas that we recite, some nohas that are recited, some marthiyas that are recited, that if you were to recite them in the state of fasting, your fast would be invalid. It would be batil. We don't know. Totally unaware. And we think, no, these are the fadail of Amirul Mu'mineen, these are the fadail. No. So it causes that destruction of the soul. So it causes the destruction of the nafs. And so an individual is not able to benefit from Laylatul Qadr. He's not able to benefit from that night of Qadr that is approaching us so fast. That height of our spirituality. Laylatul Qadr is beyond understanding. If you want to understand Laylatul Qadr, or you want to understand the greatness of Laylatul Qadr, then come to the hadith of the 6th Imam. He says, "Man arafa Fatima haqqa ma'rifatiha faqad adraka Laylatul Qadr." He says, the one that wishes to understand the greatness of my grandfather, Fatima Zahra, sallallahu alayha, or the one that has understood her, haqqa ma'rifatiha, as is her right to be understood, فَقَدْ أَدْرَكَ لَيْلَةُ الْقَدْرِ. It is as if he has found and understood the night of Qadr. وَإِنَّمَا سُمِّيَتْ فَاطِمَةً لِأَنَّ الْخَلْقَ فُطِرُوا عَنْ مَعْرِفَتِهَا. But she has been named Fatima, so that mankind will forever be deprived of understanding her. And to understand Laylatul Qadr is beyond understanding. See, Rajab is that start. We start the fasting of Rajab. 1 day's fasting in Rajab equivalent to 60 years worth of fasting. We prepare ourselves Laylatul Raghaib, the first Thursday night of Rajab. We stay awake the whole night. We do dua the whole night. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the whole night. We should have prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the whole night. And then Laylatul Raghaib passes and the wiladat of the Imam comes. And do we know that there are a'mal to do on every wiladat? Or is it just, it's okay, it's a jashan. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do jashan. Fadail of Ahlul Bayt, yes, they have thawab. But jashan is just not enough. They didn't come for us to come and start throwing parties on their names, cutting cakes upon their name. No, they are far greater than that. There are full a'mal for us to do on the nights of their wiladat. There are ziyarat for us to recite on the nights of their wiladat. There are ghusls for us to do on the nights of their wiladat. There are du'as for us to recite on the nights of their wiladat. But for me, it's just enough to go for a jashan. I wonder, the way that our so-called jashans or celebrations are, that those qasidas that are recited, the ghuluv that happens, the exaggerations that happen, would my imam be happy with me sitting there? Or second thing, would my imam sit there? Would my imam sit in those gatherings where lies are being attributed to Ahl al-Bayt? But yet I somehow, some way, think that I'm still classified as one of the Shi'as of Ahl Muhammad. It's not easy. It's not easy to be from amongst the followers of Ahl al-Bayt. It's a very difficult task. Laylatul Qadr is built up to from Rajab. Then we enter into Sha'ban, and the 15th of Sha'ban comes. And now that I've mentioned it, it's something that I should clarify as well. That sometimes we think that, why is it that Laylatul Qadr is the night of destiny, and the 15th of Sha'ban is also the night of destiny? That how is it possible that the destiny for the whole year is being written on both nights? Seems a bit paradoxical. It seems like it's a contradiction. That on the 15th of Sha'ban, we say that the destiny is written. Yes? Everyone's heard that. And then, on Laylatul Qadr, we say that the destiny is being written. So what is it? Because you can't have 2 years' destinies written on 2 separate days in the same year. The explanation comes from Sayyid ibn Tawus. Sayyid ibn Tawus says that on the 15th of Sha'ban, 1 month ago almost, on the 15th of Sha'ban, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala views your a'mal, your staying awake, your worship, your promises that you make, the istighfar that you do. He views all of that, and it is written in Lawh Mahv wal Ithbat, the erasable tablet. Lawh Mahv wal Ithbat, we have 2 types of tablet. Lawh Mahfuz and Lawh Mahv wal Ithbat. On the 15th of Sha'ban, everything that we do is written in Lawh Mahv wal Ithbat, in the erasable tablet, in draft form. That for this year, this individual's destiny, rizq and everything will be like this. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tracks an individual from the 15th of Sha'ban until Layali al-Qadr, until the nights of Qadr. And he sees, does this person maintain that level of spirituality? That on the night of Qadr, Ya Allah, please forgive my sins. I promise I'll still be a good Muslim. But she leaves and takes her hijab off. Oh Ya Allah, I promise I'll be a good Muslim. Please help me change. Please solve this problem in my life. And he goes and he misses his Salatul Fajr. Or he sleeps on the night of the 15th of Sha'ban. Or he goes to sleep on Laylatul Qadr. Or he starts missing fast, making excuses, but he's got exams, he's got finals. Can he not break his fast? No, he can't. No, she can't. Yes, but we're writing a paper. Is it not unfair that we have to fast such long hours. No, it's not. Get over it. Cannot break a fast. Well, you can, but then you have to make up 60 fasts for that one fast that you broke. Or feed 60 people, or free a slave. So, you know, you can technically, but in the eyes of Allah, you can't. So we have it that in these times when finals are going on and people are writing they're like, oh, but the fasting's so difficult for them. They can't study, they can't concentrate. Yes, because we have raised a nation that is devoid of spirituality, that is devoid of their inclination towards God. They don't want to pray. They don't want to fast. Because we've raised them in such a way that they weren't inclined towards the religion, because they never saw us act upon the religion that we preached in the masjid. Preached it in the masjid. Didn't follow it at home. And so this huge paradox that was created led to this lack of faith, that it's too long a day, it's too difficult, can we reduce the fast, can we break a fast? I know he's baligh or she's baligh, but it's difficult. There is no here or there in the Sharia. If someone's about to die, someone's ill, they're about to faint, then yes, the Sharia says, yes, eat and drink as much in order to get rid of that feeling, and your fast is still valid. But for me to say I have got finals and I've got an essay, no. And anyone that has broken the fast, as a result of that reason, there is a kafara. The kafara being either 60 days of fasting, 29 of which must be consecutive, then 31 can be spaced out as you want, or the feeding of 60 people, poor people, or the freeing of a slave. Sometimes we incline our children towards haram. So, no, today you didn't wake up for suhoor, don't fast. It's going to be too difficult. When a girl is 9 and a boy is 14, there is no leeway in Sharia. Let's get real. There is no leeway in the Sharia. This is the law of God. Either you believe in it or you don't. Either we raise children to be inclined towards it or we don't. This is the reality that we live in. And it's unfortunate that we stoop to such lows where, as I said at the start of the lecture, our understanding becomes more important than the understanding of God Himself. Where we think that we know better, and this is exactly what Fir'aun said, as I said at the start, أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى, I am your greatest Lord. Fir'aun said, no, these are the orders of God from Musa. No, forget that. I know what's better. And we're at the same time on a daily basis living the life of Fir'aun. On the 15th of Sha'ban, your destiny is written in the erasable tablet. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tracks the life of that individual from the 15th of Sha'ban until Layal al-Qadr. If they have maintained their level of spirituality and they have fulfilled the promises that they made to Allah on the 15th of Sha'ban, and they have continued to progress towards Allah as is what they should have been doing, then when they do the a'mal of Laylatul Qadr, that destiny is then inscribed upon Lawh Mahfuz, the preserved tablet. And then that becomes the destiny for the year. That becomes what an individual's life will be for the year. But if I go and I see that Laylatul Raghaib comes, and I quickly do some a'mal Laylatul Raghaib, the first Thursday of Rajab, and then I miss it, carry on going back to my way. Laylatul Bara'at comes, Ya Rabbi, Ya Rabbi, Ya Rabbi. 15th of Sha'ban, the most recommended dua is Dua Kumayl. Very few people know this. But Dua Kumayl was given to Kumayl ibn Ziyad al-Nakhai on the night of the 15th of Sha'ban. And Amir al-Mu'mineen said to him that on this night recite this dua. So the 15th of Sha'ban, Ya Rabbi, Ya Rabbi, Ya Rabbi, and then I go back to my haram lifestyle, doing haram, missing salah, not wearing hijab, shaving my beard, all of these things. And then I go on Laylatul Qadr again, Ya Rabbi, Ya Rabbi, Ya Rabbi. See the paradox that is created then, that from that point where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would be tracking, I dive and I drop. And it is only then when on Laylatul Qadr I pray and my problems aren't solved and my issues aren't resolved, that my year doesn't improve. I say, why is it on Laylatul Qadr I stayed up the whole night? Yes, but you lived a rotten life before it and after it. Lived a life devoid of God before it, sometimes during it. You know, some people are like, you know, I'm tired, the kids are tired, the Laylatul Qadr, I know, but they should sleep. This is how we instill hubb al-dunya in the heart of a child. We say, no, they have school tomorrow. We make excuses for them, but in reality it's showing the problems that we possess. We make an excuse for them, no, they have school tomorrow, or no, they're going to get too tired tomorrow. If they stay up on Laylatul Qadr, even though they're 14 and 15 and 9 or 10 years old in the girls. And we say to them, no, you know, you have school tomorrow. So what we do is we create hubb al-dunya. وَحُبُّ الدُّنْيَا رَأْسُ كُلِّ خَطِيئَةٍ. Love of the world is the root of all sin. Any sin that you can think of, its root is the love of the world. We instill within our children this huge paradox where we bring them to the masjid and they hear that it is haram to lie, but they go home and see us lying. We bring them to the masjid and we, you know, make them hear that ghiba is wrong. If you see someone do something bad and you tell someone else about that bad that you saw them do, that is haram. That will cause a person to be dragged to the depth of hell. That will cause a person's scroll of deeds to be devoid of anything they did. They must have gone to Hajj about 100 times in their life. They went to Umrah, they went to Ziyarah. They did this dua, they did that a'mal, but once they did the ghiba of an individual, i.e. they saw someone do something bad. So I see someone walking in the street drinking alcohol. Guaranteed, it's alcohol. So I come and I tell someone that wasn't there, you know, Fulan was walking on the street drinking alcohol. Ghiba. His alcohol-driven ways forgiven. My ziyarat of Karbala, my Hajj, my Umrah, my Salatul Layl, everything given to him. Yawm al-Qiyamah, the book of deeds will come up in this kind of, the narration says that a person will look and say, Ilahi, I went to Hajj, I did all of this, none of it's here. I said, yes, but at the same time you did the ghiba of someone, we gave it to him. And this individual will open their scroll of deeds and be like, I never went to Hajj. There's a problem. The reply will come, there's no problem. But someone did your ghiba and he'd gone on all of these places, so we gave him all. Islam is like, what do you think? Islam is for our convenience. No. Ubudiyya, servitude is not easy. It is difficult. It's like dying many times over. يموت الناس مرة ويموت أحدهم في كل يوم 70 مرة. that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in regards to the people of the Akhirah, He says all of mankind die once in their life. But the people of the Akhirah, they die every single day, 70 times a day, fighting the desires of their nafs. When my nafs wants to do something as basic as eating or sleeping, it can sometimes take me away from Allah. Eating while in the state of fasting, haram, takes me away from Allah. But for me to resist eating can at times feel like worse than death. Some people say, "Oh, kill me." No, I can't do this. Sleeping. I know that there is a chance. I've just come from work. I'm very tired. But I'm just going to sleep for an hour and then pray my Salat al-Dhuhr or pray this Salah. I fall asleep, and when I wake up, it's the time of Maghrib. That whole period of sleeping was haram. It was spent in the ma'asiyah of Allah, in the disobedience of God. So my very actions, they not only influence and disease my soul so that I'm unable to view the divine glory that is on offer in Shahr Ramadan, and especially on Laylatul Qadr, but they also influence all those around me. First and foremost, my children and my family. When I live a life devoid of God and devoid of servitude to Allah, then I wonder, why is it that our children don't want to pray? Why is it my children don't want to come to the masjid? Why is it that they don't want to, recite dua? Why is it that they're always messing around? They don't want to listen. View our actions. What is it that we're doing in front of our children? What is it that we're allowing them to do in front of us? This is what causes the destruction of a society. How do you destroy a society? You make the people destroy themselves. You make them give in to their own desires. When they give in to their own desires, when they give in to their own self, when they no longer rely on a higher power, the moment they destroy themselves, their degradation will have an impact on the next person, have an impact on their family, will have an impact on their children. And when you destroy the family unit, when you destroy the religious nature, the spirituality in a family, you've destroyed part of the fabric of society. It's as simple as that. The idea of Sharh al-Sadr, inshallah tomorrow we'll look at it more. We didn't get a chance to analyze it properly. But this whole idea of Sharh al-Sadr, that how is it that I am going to be able to bear and receive and actually intellectualize and logically accept that which is on offer on Laylatul Qadr? How do I rationalize it? Because spirituality to some extent is rational, but then after that it's love. What you may say to me in your levels of spirituality, I may think is wrong, but you are speaking from a higher level of love of Allah to me. So to me, it doesn't make any sense. But what you are saying is perfectly sensible. See, when the nafs is so inclined towards haram, not haram is zahiri, not haram is zahiri, like the open haram. Like I'm going out, I'm committing adultery, or I'm, attributing partners to Allah, or I'm doing any of this haram. Not that zahiri haram. Even when it's inclined towards the batini haram, i.e. I'm thinking bad about someone. Surah Al-Hujurat says, لا يسخر قوم عن قوم. That, oh, you who believe, don't let one nation mock another nation. Don't let one nation mock another nation. And then he goes further. He says, and don't let one people think bad of another people. When my thoughts are pure, then to some extent, my soul has been purified. Inshallah, we'll look at these concepts more in depth. This was a small introduction to what we'll look at, inshallah, in the coming nights, analyzing Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq, Dua Abu Hamza Mali, and also touching on Dua Iftitah as well, and what are the tangible lessons that we can take in our life, implementing them, and then, so that we can actually make a difference in our life and in the lives of the future generations. We pray that first and foremost, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives me the tawfiq to act upon that which I have said. Secondly, He gives you the tawfiq to act upon that which you have heard. Oh Allah, forgive our sins. Oh Allah, forgive the sins of our parents. Oh Allah, those of our parents that are alive, give them long lives. Those of our parents that have left this world, give them a place next to Ali Muhammad in Jannah. Oh Allah, those who are ill, give them shifa. Those who are in debt, clear their debts. Oh Allah, those who are in education, make them successful. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time, and allow us to be amongst His true muttadeen. For the acceptance of these du'as and any of the du'as that the brothers and sisters abroad, please recite our salat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.